Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So Rio Ferdinand wants Manchester United to sign Jack Grealish, and he doesn't care if Paul Pogba leaves. Now I give you the news on Jack Grealish recently. Last Friday night, after our 2-1 win against Aston Villa, Solsjaer spoke with Jack Grealish. And reflecting on that, some of our fans were speculating that he could make a move to Manchester United. Now, last summer, Jack Grealish reportedly told his teammates that he's on his way to Old Trafford. Villa said that they wanted around £80 million for Grealish during the summer, and obviously their valuation put us off. And we also had element of concerns about where he would fit in the team. Back in September, Grealish signed a 5-year contract with Aston Villa. I think reflecting on his good performances, Villa now value him at £100 million. Most of the time now, he does play on that left-hand side. Up until this point, Grealish has spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa. He's been a Villa player since the age of 6, and he's been in their senior squad since 2014, and since then has become an integral part of their team. Don't forget he did get banned from driving. But yeah, he put a very, very good performance out last Friday night. I think he was playing in that number 10, but he looked very dangerous on the ball, and he looked good on the counter-attack, and he put some good crosses into the box. But £100 million is way too much. Now, it did say a few weeks ago that Villa are expecting bids from us and City in this January transfer window. It also mentioned that Liverpool have been interested, because reportedly Salah is unhappy at Liverpool, so they're possibly seeing Grealish as a potential replacement for him. So a lot of people will agree with Rio Ferdinand on what he said. Now, if Paul Pogba leaves Manchester United, I think he will go in the summer. I'm very, very sceptical that he will leave in this January transfer window. Now, don't forget Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, told 2 Sport last month that Paul Pogba's career at Manchester United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave, and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Then, just after that, he made a fresh statement saying that it's unlikely he'll leave in this January transfer window, but before he said he needs to leave in this January transfer window, but he said he can leave in the summer. Solsjaer was furious with Mino Raiola of the time of his announcement, because it was just before the RB Leipzig game in the Champions League. He has had a long-running transfer saga. Now he's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG, Barcelona and Inter Milan have also been in for him before. In fact, I think it says PSG have recently reignited their interest. And there's been a lot of narratives coming out of the mainstream media of him possibly going back to Juventus. That's why I think he will go if he leaves Man United this summer. Pogba did endure 4 good years with Juventus. Now, swap deals have been high on the agenda. It's recently said that we rejected a Juventus swap deal offer involving Aaron Ramsey and Douglas Costa. It says we will let him go in a player swap transfer, just not for Douglas Costa or Aaron Ramsey. I think we're demanding a world-class player in exchange. He said towards the end of last year that Juventus had offered us Federico Bernardeschi and Paul Dybala in exchange. Juventus are only willing to pay, what, £50 million for him in this January transfer window. We won't accept £50 million for Paul Pogba. You know, this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. You know, he's made over 100 appearances for Man United in all competitions. And he's won 3 trophies at the club: the Community Shield, the Europa League and the EFL Cup. Don't forget, we had him when he was a lot younger under Sir Alex Ferguson, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. And he's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. Now, I've got to give Paul Pogba a lot of credit because since he's come back from that ankle injury that he had earlier on in the season, he's been very, very consistent. Solsjaer was recently talking about Paul Pogba's role. Some United fans are saying keep him on that left-hand side because that's where he seems to be more effective and that's more of an advanced role. But Paul Pogba is a versatile player. Isn't there? Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that we can convince Paul Pogba to stay at the club if, you know, the club win trophies. Now, earlier on in the season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. There has been no talks over getting him a long-term contract as yet. I think we've accepted he won't sign a new contract at the club, so it says that we'll actually sell him in the summer. Paul Pogba was out for the vast majority of last season, don't forget, with injury. During the last international break, he made quite a few comments, like I've updated you so many times. He said, like, this season has been the most difficult period in his career. He said during the last international break, playing for France is a breath of fresh air. And in general, he was talking about his Man United struggles this season. But reflects on them comments, he did receive a lot of criticism. You know, and Didier Deschamps, the France manager, was talking a lot about him. But I've criticised Paul Pogba a lot since he rejoined the club because he has enjoyed a lot of bad games as a Man United player. You can probably say he's had about 12 good games maybe since he rejoined the club. Probably one of the best games Paul Pogba had was a few years ago in that Manchester derby when we beat them 3-2. We came from behind. Fabrizio Romano said towards the end of last year that Paul Pogba will 100% leave Man United this summer. So basically, Jack Grealish would be the replacement for Paul Pogba. Now, I want to delve into some news on Jaden Sancho. So, the Borussia Dortmund CEO has said that Sancho has struggled at Dortmund this season because he was expected to join Manchester United last summer. Don't forget, last summer, Jaden Sancho was our #1 priority target. The main explanation why we didn't get Jaden Sancho is because Borussia Dortmund wanted £108 million, which is a substantial amount. We was not willing to meet their £108 million valuation. But it did say quite a few times during the summer that the personal terms had been agreed. It also said that, you know, the agent fees had been agreed and even a contract had been agreed. But we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee. So that was the stumbling block. Dortmund made it clear to us during the summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline. But I think Sancho said a few times during the summer that he wanted to come to Manchester United. Dortmund have actually been very, very poor this season. Don't forget, earlier on this season they sacked Lucien Favre. Fabrizio Romano was recently talking about Sancho like he was a lot during the summer, and he says that Sancho will leave this summer. I heard that he actually prefers a move to Liverpool. This is Sancho's 4th season at Dortmund. Man lies in the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, though he's been consistent. It's only this season really he's been poor. Dortmund only paid £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. So they got him for next to nothing. He didn't get any first team opportunities at Manchester City, and that's why he left City. I think Sancho's got a contract with Dortmund, is it till 2022 or 2023? But we believe this year we can sign Sancho for less than £100 million. But now it's saying he's not our priority now. It says we want to sign Erling Haaland instead of Sancho. I don't think we'll get Erling Haaland this year. I think he's expected to leave next year when his £68 million release clause becomes active. And I said it was a shame that we missed out on Erling Haaland back in January of last year, because he would have been an Ole Gunnar Solsjaer type signing. Solsjaer obviously knows him well because Ole was the one that gave him his debut at Molde at just the age of 16. You already know the news on Moises Caicedo. I've mentioned him on my last 2 videos. Independiente del Valle have denied that we've made contact over a move for Moises Caicedo. El Dairo has said that Independiente del Valle have increased their asking price. They want now around €10 million. It said back in December, which was last month, that we'd actually agreed to get him for like 4.5 million, and it would include a 20% sell-on clause. And he was going to sign like a 5-year contract, but now his transfer to Man United has hit a stumbling block. He liked an Instagram post, by the way, did Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo's already revealed that his favourite club is Man United. Chelsea are in for him. It did say towards the end of last year that Chelsea were looking to hijack our move, and he mentioned that Brighton and Newcastle were in for him. Moises Caicedo made his debut for Independiente del Valle around 15 months ago, and I think he's played for Ecuador around 4 times. You know the news on Amad Diallo Traore. His arrival is now imminent. So that's the latest on all of, the transfers and all of that. Now, can Ole Gunnar Solsjaer reach his first final? If we do beat Manchester City tomorrow night, we will be in the EFL Cup final. Don't forget, it's only one-legged, this game against City. Solskjaer says Manchester United have no excuses if we lose another semi-final. We lost 3 semi-finals last season, and Solskjaer has challenged our players to take a big step forward ahead of this game. I think if we do beat Manchester City tomorrow night, there's a good chance we will win the cup. It's very, very imperative that we get our first trophy on the board under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. We haven't won a trophy now for just over 4 years. Like I've said to you though, there's 4 trophies we can pursue this season. We can win the EFL Cup, we can win the Premier League, we can win the Europa League, and we can win the FA Cup. Now, we played Manchester City last season, like I mentioned on the preview, in the EFL Cup semi-final. Obviously, we got knocked out. over the 2 legs, because obviously we lost the first leg 3-1 at Old Trafford, but we won the second leg 1-0, but went out 3-2 on aggregate. What?
If you want some of them Nike trainers like mine, Bev says you can have some from the catalogue.
Alright.
And pay monthly.
Alright.
Because they're the fucking nightmare,
And we beat City 3 times out of the 4 times we played them last season in total, because we beat them both times in the league. We've played City in the Cup quite a few times, played them a few times in the FA Cup. We also played them in the League Cup semi-final back in the 2009-10 season. Don't forget Wayne Rooney had scored that late winner. I think that night it was 3-1. We've already played City once in the league this season, obviously drew with them at 0-0 at Old Trafford. Like I said, that game lacked a lot of quality. You know, the best chance of that game was from Raheem Mahrez. I think all our chances in that game were half chances. So like I mentioned on the preview, hopefully this game tomorrow night does not replicate the one in the league earlier on in the season. But this is a hard game to call, you know, because we're coming into this game on a good vein of form. We're unbeaten in our last 10 league games. You know, we recently beat Aston Villa 2-1. And as for Man City, they're unbeaten in their last 11 games in all competitions. You can say now they're in the title race, and they recently had a good win against Chelsea, beating them by 3-1. Like I updated you earlier on my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, there's only 2 players that are out, and that's Phil Jones, he's injured, I think still, and Edison Cavani's obviously got 2 games to serve, because don't forget Edison Cavani got a 3-match ban and he got fined £100,000 from the FA for the racist comment that he put on social media last month. It was a Spanish context, wasn't it? It said Gracias Negreto, something like that. But Solskjaer said it's disappointing that, you know, he's not going to be involved, because Cavani has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. And Solskjaer said not so long ago that Cavani is definitely a starter for Man United. We're already looking to extend his contract, and Ollie revealed the first thing that Cavani asked him, and that's whether he could wear the number 7 shirt. Yeah, but I think, you know, changes will be made tomorrow. Couple probably from the 2-1 win against Villa. We'll play a strong team, obviously. I think against Watford at the weekend it will be totally comparison. We'll make a lot of rotation in the squad for that game. We'll play a weakened side in that game, you know, give more of the youngsters their opportunities. You know, we should be even beating Watford with a weakened side anyway, because Watford are in the Championship. Like I said, Lindelof wasn't mentioned in the press conference, so I presume he's now back, because he's missed our last few games because he's had a back injury. But I would still keep Eric Bailly in the team, because Eric Bailly's been very impressive since he came back. You know, Bailly has started our last 4 games in a row. I think he looks much better alongside Maguire than Lindelof does alongside Maguire. Like it said, Manchester City could be missing 7 players for tomorrow night. Because like I said, quite a few of their players have got COVID. It says Gabriel Jesus has got COVID. Tommy Doyle, I think it said, has got COVID. He got tested positive a few weeks ago. Edison has also got COVID. This is why City played Zach Steffen in their 3-1 win against Chelsea. He's their second choice goalkeeper, and that was his Premier League debut. I think Kyle Walker's also got COVID. Eric Garcia has got COVID. Benjamin Mendy, he broke COVID-19 rules. Ferran Torres, I think he's been self-isolating as he had COVID as well. City have obviously got a couple of injuries. Not Benjamin Mendy. Laporte's injured, and Nathan Ake has been recently injured. So City could possibly play a similar lineup to as they did do in the Chelsea game. Probably not the exact same lineup, but similar. I think some of these players will be back though. Depends how long they've had the virus for, basically. But City have got some very, very good players in their team, like I've gone through with you. They've got one of the best managers in the world in Pep Guardiola. Yeah, going to be a very, very interesting game. After Man City, it's Watford. After Watford, it's Burnley. That's our game in hand. That was supposed to be played at the start of the season, but obviously it got postponed. And then after Burnley, it's Liverpool away, and that's going to be a massive game. That's the biggest game in English football, because they are the two most successful teams historically. Now, we are certainly in this title race. We're joint top of the Premier League table at the moment with a game in hand. If we do beat Burnley, we will be top by 3 points. Like I said to you this morning, we now have a serious title opportunity. Liverpool are winless in their last 3 games in the league. They recently lost 1-0 to Southampton. Obviously, all of our fans would have been very delighted with that. As you all know, Jurgen Klopp has been moaning. He says Man United get a penalty every 3 games. And he was saying, we've had more penalties than what Liverpool have had in his 5.5 years there. Just doesn't like it, does it? Because his team are not in good form at the moment. And I'm still very sceptical that we'll win the title this season. I'll stick to what I said. I'm not fully disregarding it though. Now, if we do win the Premier League, it will be our first Premier League title since 2013, and it will be our 21st title overall. Even Solsjaer said, didn't he, after the 1-0 win against Wolves, that we're not in the title races yet, but you can say that's him playing mind games. And he says if we are still challenging at the top come March, then he'll start to believe that we are in the title race. But Solskjaer said we still have to improve if we are to challenge for the title. We have improved, performances are better and players have improved, but we need to improve defensively because we are still leaking goals. This is what my concern is. We still need more signings as well. Let's put that into the equation. The Solskjaer said, the change of mentality in our players has got us into the position that we are in. No one thought we'd have been joint top of the Premier League in early 2021. With how poor we started the beginning of last year. Was very, very poor the first part of last season as well. So it just shows you, doesn't it? And like I've said to you, I am starting to slowly change my perception on Solskjaer, and I'm starting to believe that he is the right manager for Man United. Obviously, earlier on in the season, my perception was totally comparison. I was heavily critical of him and I was demanding him out of the football club, and so too were a lot of Manchester United fans. But he deserves a lot of credit. He's not only got us joint top of the Premier League, he's got us to the EFL Cup semi-final. Look what he did last season, his first full season, got us qualification for the Champions League, got us third, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. He's made good signings so far since he got appointed in as Man United manager. We've seen a lot of players leave the club since he got recommended in. He showed tactical flexibility. He showed a lot of tactical flexibility in a lot of the big games. We're enjoying a good period at the moment. Like I said, we're unbeaten in our last 10 league games. We went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. So, yeah, we've got to give him a lot of credit in putting the stats into circulation now. You can say that Ole Gunnar Solsjaer is our best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Certainly a better manager than Moyes was. You know, Moyes is the worst manager that Man United have ever had. Van Gaal, he had a good start, but then it all crumbled. You know, Van Gaal enjoyed 2 years at the club. We did win the FA Cup under him. Jose Mourinho, you can say he had one good season because he won 3 trophies in his first season, and that was the Europa League, the League Cup, and the Community Shield. But weren't so good in his second season. He enjoyed 2.5 years at the club. But you can say that Solskjaer now is bringing the good times back to Man United. You know, this is his second full season at Man United, and I did say, didn't I, this season was always going to be a big season for him, and he's exceeding his expectations now. And I said if we win the league this season, that would be remarkable. But even if we didn't win the league and it was another trophy, and we're finishing the top 4, the top 3, like I've said so many times, I still think that would represent a very, very good season for Man United, and that would give us something to build on. Ollie has been at the football club now for just over 2 years. We appointed Solskjaer in December 2018, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. We're giving the job permanently, reflects on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. This January transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window at the football club. He already made his plans for the January window last year, didn't he? And he said he was looking to strengthen up in 4 positions, and he's made a centre-back his #1 transfer priority. But the board have said that Solskjaer will be backed in this January transfer window, and they've also said he will be backed, or he should be backed in the summer transfer window, because I think he'll be still Man United manager in the summer transfer window. I think he's going to be given at least the rest of this season, and I think he's going to get another season as well. If he is given another season, that will be his 3rd full season at the club. But Woodward, yeah, he has come out several times to support Solskjaer. During the summer, obviously, Ollie wasn't backed enough, but none of our managers have been backed enough since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And our recruitment policy has been gash since Sir Alex Ferguson left. But Woodward is confident of success under Ole, isn't he? You know, we've spent a lot of money since Ferguson left, like I've mentioned. We've spent over £1 billion on players, and we've brought a good 36, 37 players in since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And a lot of those players we've brought in haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. But yeah, we are now a competitive team. You know, like I said, I'm very sceptical that anyone will replicate Ferguson's legacy, and you know, no one will last as long as Ferguson did. You know, since he's gone, we haven't been the same team. And before he came into the equation, you know, we wasn't good either. By the way, as I've already updated you on, Solskjaer wants to axe 6 players off in this January transfer window. He wants to get rid of Lingard, Jones, Rojo, Romero, James. I think he'll go out on loan, and I think Brandon Williams will go out on loan. And I'm expecting Odin Igalo to leave the club as well, because his loan expires this month. So there you go. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.